Have you ever imagined a body from another star system crossing space in absolute silence? An object traveling alone through the void, indifferent to the forces that shape planets. When it was first detected, 3I/Atlas seemed like just another wandering comet. But something in its trajectory began to defy physics, puzzling scientists around the world. During its approach to the sun, it didn't just shine, it responded to the star's light. And in that instant, a question emerged. Could the cosmos itself be trying to communicate with us? Sensors captured luminous pulses repeating in precise mathematical intervals. Each emission seemed to follow a logic, as if obeying a deliberate code. Astronomers tried to explain it as bursts of gas, but their equations failed. The heat rose and fell in perfect rhythm, defying any known natural behavior. It was as if 3I/Atlas was breathing, a cyclical exhalation from the interstellar deep. And the more sunlight touched it, the more intense this apparent, intelligent response became. NASA avoided premature conclusions, but the readings continued to repeat. There was something in that sequence that seemed to carry intent, or at least design. A visitor from another sun seemed to know exactly what it was doing. If natural, it would redefine physics. If conscious, it would redefine humanity. The mystery divided scientists, philosophers, and dreamers alike. And I tell you, what this video reveals may forever change your perception of the universe. When 3I/Atlas was first detected, it appeared as just another point of light in space. But its velocity and inclination immediately caught astronomers off guard. It wasn't orbiting the sun, nor did it belong to any known stellar system. The data confirmed it came from beyond, a traveler from another star entirely. It was the third time humanity had witnessed something from outside our solar boundary. And yet, there was something profoundly unsettling about the way it moved. Calculations showed that 3I/Atlas wasn't bound by solar gravity, it was merely passing through. It would cross our system and then vanish back into interstellar space. But small, precise corrections appeared in its trajectory, too perfect to be random. It was as though an internal force were adjusting its path in real time. Comets don't think, but this one seemed to calculate every curve with precision. And the closer it drew to the sun, the stranger its motion became. The scientific community hesitated to speculate, fearing public hysteria. Some claimed asymmetric gas jets caused the changes. Others said something deeper was at play. 3I/Atlas appeared aware of its own route, as if following an unseen command. Nothing in its readings resembled the chaotic drift of an ordinary comet. It was as though it was studying the sun, or perhaps testing something within its light. And everyone knew that once it reached perihelion, things would never be the same. At perihelion, when 3I/Atlas came closest to the sun, everything changed. Sensors registered an intense surge of brightness far beyond prediction. The object seemed to pulse, as if the sun itself were provoking a reaction. But those pulses were not random. They repeated in flawless, timed intervals. Each wave of light carried a symmetry too perfect for natural physics. It was then that NASA flagged the first alert, non-random emission detected. Scientists initially dismissed it as heat-driven outgassing from solar radiation. But thermal data revealed synchronized heating and cooling cycles. No known comet displays such measured constancy in its temperature variations. The energy output rose and fell like a heartbeat, not a chaotic eruption. Each oscillation appeared calibrated, deliberate, almost purposeful. The deeper they analyzed, the harder it became to deny the impossible. NASA paused all public commentary, awaiting internal confirmation of the findings. Independent observatories, however, began publishing consistent readings. The same pulses appeared across optical, infrared, and radio wavelengths. It was impossible to call it noise. The coherence was undeniable. Something near the sun seemed to be transmitting, structured and rhythmic. And from that moment, 3I/Atlas ceased to be a comet. It became a cosmic enigma. Cross-referencing the perihelion data revealed something extraordinary. The pulses of light and heat followed a sequence based on prime numbers. Such a pattern, rare in nature, is often proposed in interstellar communication theory. It wasn't just light, it was information disguised as radiation. Each emission aligned with a stable, repeating frequency in perfect ratios. And the most unnerving part, The signal persisted even as it drifted away from the sun. The phenomenon reminded many scientists of classic SETI contact models. A numeric code, simple and universal, is the first proof of intelligence. Few dared to say it aloud, but the implication hung heavy in every discussion. If natural, this was the most precise accident the cosmos had ever produced. If artificial, we were witnessing a technology beyond human understanding. Either way, the event transcended the boundaries of modern astrophysics. Magnetic field models revealed that the object rotated in sync with its pulses. It seemed to adjust its axis deliberately with each cycle of emission. Some researchers coined a new term, adaptive response, a first in astronomy. 3I/Atlas appeared to balance energy intake and output, like a regulated system. The line between coincidence and control began to blur entirely. And in that silence, one question echoed: could this be an intelligent signal? The discovery split the scientific world between caution and wonder. On one side stood naturalists, arguing for rotation, outgassing, or plasma effects. On the other, theorists of SETI saw deliberate geometry in the data itself. The beauty of the debate lay in the tension between reason and mystery. Was the cosmos sending us a subtle test, or merely showing us our limits? And perhaps the real experiment was our own willingness to question. Astrophysicists attempted to simulate the readings through internal fragmentation. None could reproduce the exact mathematical rhythm found in the signals. Solar plasma models failed too, lacking temporal alignment with the pulses. The phenomenon hung between physics and philosophy, between chaos and order. Each discarded theory made the event appear more deliberate, not less. The frontier between the explainable and the impossible was dissolving fast. Pressed by the media, NASA stated, "No conclusive evidence of artificial behavior." But absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, and everyone knew it. Independent researchers began publishing parallel analyses of the signal. Observatories worldwide took turns observing the drifting object. If there was a message, perhaps it was hidden in its movement, not its light. The universe, it seemed, was no longer just being observed, it was watching back. Never before had a celestial event blurred science and philosophy so completely. 3I/Atlas forced us to reconsider life, consciousness, and purpose on a cosmic scale. If those pulses were indeed a code, then this was a contact, indirect yet profound. A silent exchange between intelligences, carried by light and mathematics. Astrobiology would be rewritten, and SETI would have its long-sought confirmation. But awe quickly gave way to an ancient fear, the fear of not being alone. The implications struck every field of human thought simultaneously. Ethicists and physicists gathered to discuss how humanity should respond. What if the message wasn't meant for us, but we were able to understand it? The boundary between observation and participation began to erode. Could we accept not being the universe's focal point? Or was understanding itself the first step toward transcendence? Personally, I believe 3I/Atlas is more than an interstellar object, it's a mirror. It reflects our hunger for knowledge and our dread of the unknown. Even if it proves natural, its effect is irreversible, curiosity reignited. Because sometimes, the truest, intelligent signal lies within ourselves, in the act of looking into the unknown and calling it mystery. And maybe that is the universal language the cosmos speaks to us in. Now, 3I/Atlas drifts away, carrying with it the answers we still lack. Telescopes continue to track its fading trail through the dark expanse. New missions plan deep infrared studies to capture its final glimmers. Each photon, each fragment of light, might hold a trace of the original pattern. Meanwhile, scientists and dreamers wait for the next interstellar visitor. Because after 3I/Atlas, space will never feel the same again. And if the pulses return, perhaps we'll finally decode what we once could not. Maybe the cosmos doesn't speak in words, but in repetitions, in light and rhythm. Perhaps every interstellar object is a letter, written across the void of eternity. As we gaze into the darkness gazes quietly back. If natural, it will redefine our understanding of celestial order. If intelligent, it will redefine what it means to be human.